exemption nationwide for 2 days before Chinese New Year. Customs seized smuggled firecrackers and electrical items in separate raids. Toll exemption will be given to highway users nationwide on 20th and 21st January in conjunction with the Chinese New Year. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, who made the announcement today, said the toll-free rides will involve all classes of vehicles and allocation of 40 million ringgit.
Jadi untuk itu Menteri Jalan Raya dan Menteri Pengangkutan telah mengambil inisiatif berbincang dengan syarikat konsesi dan setuju supaya ditiadakan tol bagi 20 dan 21 hari bulan. Jadi untuk mengedarkan kenderaan ramai yang akan pulang ke kampung, bukan saja Cina tetapi juga Melayu, India, semua yang lain akan bersama-sama. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
He said this in a press conference after chairing the cabinet meeting today. Datuk Seri Anwar also reminded all road users to drive carefully and comply with all the traffic rules and regulations. The Chinese community in the country will be celebrating the Lunar New Year on 22nd and 23rd January. On another matter, the Prime Minister told his cabinet members to take seriously and scrutinise all remarks made in the Auditor General's Report 2021 on the expenses, leakages and matters of non-compliance with conditions and regulations involving their respective ministries. Datuk Seri Anwar said the meeting had examined the report but decided not to disclose it to give space to the relevant agencies under the ministries to respond.
Tapi untuk kali ini, saya telah minta supaya Jemaah Menteri melihat secara serius teguran-teguran ini supaya tidak berulang. Kerana laporan Ketua Audit Negara ini kadang-kadang memberikan syur-syur tetapi kesilapan atau keterlanjuran yang sama itu diteruskan untuk tahun demi tahun.
Datuk Seri Anwar said the National Audit Department will announce the report at the time they deemed fit and will table it in the next Parliament session. He said such a report is important as repeated mistakes had been detected, such as a lack of monitoring, allowed leakages and handing over matters to companies that do not play by the rules. He said it was the ministry's task to look at the audit report and call for agencies concerned for explanations and determine if further action or report needed to be lodged. Meanwhile, Datuk Seri Anwar said the government is looking into the need to increase High Court judge posts for Sabah and Sarawak following the rise in the number of cases. The Prime Minister today said it was one of the proposals presented in the meeting.
Dikemukakan juga cadangan mengenai penambahan jawatan hakim Mahkamah Tinggi untuk Sabah dan Sarawak. Jadi kita berikan sedikit keutamaan. Pertamanya, penambahan jawatan-jawatan kerana meningkatnya kes-kes di Sabah dan di Sarawak. Dan keduanya, tentang keperluan melihat kedudukan bangunan mahkamah di Sabah Sarawak yang ada dikesan agak daif.
Datuk Seri Anwar said the process of appointing High Court judges in Sabah and Sarawak has to be referred to their Yang di-Pertua Negeri respectively. He said this was per the requirements of the Federal Constitution before the appointments were presented to the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. The High Court set 3rd March as the new date to decide whether former Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak and former One Malaysia Development Berhad 1 MDB Chief Executive Officer Arul Kandar Kandasamy will be acquitted or ordered to enter their defence on the audit tampering case. Previously, Judge Muhammad Zaini Nazlan, who has been elevated to the Appellate Court, set 30th January to deliver his decision. Deputy Public Prosecutor Ahmad Akram Garib, when contacted, confirmed the new date and said that he received an email from the court today. The prosecution closed its case on 7 September 2022 after calling 16 witnesses, including former Chief Secretary to the government Tan Sri Dr. Ali Hamzah, now deceased, former Auditor General Tan Sri Amrin Buang and Tan Sri Dr. Madina Muhammad, former 1MDB Chairman Tan Sri Muhammad Baki Saleh, and former National Audit Department and AD Audit Director Sa'datul Nafisa Bashir Ahmad. Both men were charged under Section 23, Subsection 1 of the MACC Act, which provides for a jail term of up to 20 years and a fine of no less than 5 times the amount of gratification or 10,000 ringgit, which is higher upon conviction. The Pulau Pinang Customs Department seized nearly 1 million ringgit worth of smuggled firecrackers and electrical items in 3 separate raids recently. 6 people were detained in the raids and have been released on bail pending investigations. State Customs Department Director Hamisan Khalib said in the first incident at 4:30 a.m. last Monday, 9th January, a team raided a business outlet in Georgetown and found 3 workers aged 30 to 42 moving boxes of firecrackers and fireworks from a lorry. He said checks unearthed 463 boxes of various brands of firecrackers and fireworks weighing over 1,600 kilogram in the premises and in the lorry.
Modus operandinya adalah membawa masuk bercon dan bunga api melalui negara jiran dan dibawa ke Penang ni melalui jalan darat.
Briefing reporters today, he said the items worth 87,010 ringgit with unpaid taxes amounting to over 56,000 ringgit were bought in from Thailand. Hamisan said the 3 men were detained to assist the probe and have been released on bail. 8 hawker stalls in Astaka in the City Stadium in Georgetown were destroyed by fire early this morning. However, there were no casualties or injuries in the incident as some traders were able to run to safety as soon as they realized that the fire was coming from the Tom Yum shop. Jalan Perak Fire and Rescue Station Chief Azlan Hassan said a team of firefighters rushed to the scene after receiving a distress call at 7:30 a.m. The fire involved a tom yum shop, a mixed rice shop and a beverage shop. When contacted today, he said firemen managed to bring the fire under control and prevent it from spreading. An initial investigation indicated that the fire was probably caused by a short circuit. The firefighting operation ended at 7:52 a.m. The losses suffered by traders are still under investigation. Coming up, Touch and Go launches first CSR-linked Visa prepaid card in Malaysia. Immigration Director General Dato' Seri Khairul Daud said employers can start applying for recruitment of foreign workers through the Labour Rehabilitation Program RTK 2.0 from 27 January.
Dan immigration memohon kerja dan majikan boleh mendaftarkan maklumat pekerja mereka secara online di dalam sistem immigration iaitu http immigrationonline.imi.gov.my seperti mana yang kita boleh lihat di skrin. Selepas majikan mendaftar, mereka akan mendapat satu tarikh sistem temujanji online. Dan immigration memohon kerjasama semua majikan untuk datang pada tarikh dan masa yang ditetapkan.
The Director General noted that the approval process will take only 1 day to complete, and after that, the employers have to take their foreign workers for medical examination by the Foreign Workers Medical Examination Monitoring Agency (FOMEMA) to ensure that they are healthy and able to work in their respective sectors. The next process will be the payment of recalibration fee, visas, temporary work visit pass, PLKS, processing fees and levies where when all documents are complete, the employers can print the PLKS. Datuk Seri Khairul added that the Immigration Department had never appointed any individual or agency as an agent or a middleman for the program. Ericsson Group and Microsoft are among the multinational companies that Internationally Trade and Industry Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Abdul Aziz had bilateral meetings with at this year's World Economic Forum WEF. At the meetings, which discussed potential investments and expansion, Ericsson was represented by its President and Chief Executive Officer, Bort Ekholm, while Microsoft by its Executive Vice President, Jean-Philippe Couture. The minister also had meetings with Japan External Trade Organization JETRO Chairman and Chief Executive Officer Nobuhiko Sasaki and Dow Jones and Company Chief Executive Officer Alma Latour. Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul disclosed that the conversations also touched on what Malaysia could offer these multinationals. Besides that, Malaysian companies are also expanding abroad, and these multinationals can also assist them in the endeavour, said the minister. Regarding the discussion with JETRO, it revolved around measures for strengthening cooperation to facilitate Malaysia-Japan trade. JETRO also presented their findings on Japanese companies' performance in ASEAN countries, which showed that 59.7% of Japanese firms in Malaysia recorded profits in 2021, an improvement of nearly 10% versus their performance in 2020. On the presence of Malaysia House for the first time at the WEF, Tengku Zafrul said it is a good approach for Malaysia's presence to be felt. The meaty minister is leading the Malaysian delegation to WEF 2023. On another note, the meaty minister said Malaysia's trade performance in 2022 surpassed 2 trillion ringgit for the second consecutive year and registered the fastest growth since 1994, with exports expanding 25% to 1.55 trillion ringgit. Imports breached 1 trillion ringgit for the first time, jumping by 31.3% to 1.29 trillion ringgit. Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul, through a statement released today, said the trade surplus increased by 0.6% to 255 billion ringgit, representing the 25th consecutive year of trade surplus since 1998. He said in 2022, Malaysia's trade continued to demonstrate a remarkable performance and registered another record-breaking achievement, with trade, exports, imports and trade surplus soaring to a new high. He noted that this was a positive reflection that the nation's trade performance is on an upward trajectory, boosted by higher external demand and strong commodity prices. In terms of markets, exports to major trading partners, notably ASEAN, China, the United States, US, the European Union EU and Japan, registered a new record high. Trade with Malaysia's important and strategic trading partner ASEAN rose by 34% to 772 billion ringgit from the previous year, while trade with ASEAN accounted for 27.1% of Malaysia's total trade in 2022. The Cashless at Paddy pilot project has been introduced at 28 selected digital economy centres Paddy nationwide to promote cashless payments among rural communities. The Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission MCMC in a statement today said the Cashless at Paddy pilot project was in line with the goal of improving the level of digital payment literacy under the Malaysia Digital Economy Blueprint. Elaborating further, MCMC said the program will be expanded to other paddy across the country based on the study of the effectiveness of the pilot project. MCMC has also formed a partnership with Payments Network Malaysia Sendirian Berhad for the program. PayNet, owned by Bank Negara Malaysia BNM and 11 local banks, is the national payments network and shared central infrastructure for Malaysia's financial markets. The pilot project started at Paddy PPR Seri Pantai and Paddy PA Seri Sabah, Kuala Lumpur on 31st December 2022, which let local residents experience cashless shopping through various e-payments methods operated by PayNet, such as debit card, MyDebit, Jom Pay and Do It Now QR. The Cashless at Paddy campaign will continue this month at Paddy Taman Kelisa and Paddy Felda Soeharto in Selangor, as well as several paddy in Negeri Sembilan, Melaka and Johor. According to the PayNet Digital Payments Insight Study 2022, the percentage of Malaysians who prefer to pay by cash has fallen from 89% in 2020 to 78% in 2021. Touch and Go Group via the Touch and Go e-wallet has launched the first corporate social responsibility CSR linked Visa prepaid card in Malaysia. TNG Digital's Narian Berhad, Chief Executive Officer Alan Ni said the company and Visa have integrated innovation and advanced technology to deliver enterprise-grade security and features for the prepaid card. He said with all the features incorporated in the card, Touch and Go e-wallet is now able to offer all the services equivalent to an alternative bank to all e-wallet users for free.
I think I do believe this card has the potential to become one of the biggest prepaid card portfolio in Malaysia. And I can tell you in last few days, one of the reasons why we're not giving to 100% of customer is because the response is also very, very good.
Ni said this to the media after launching the Visa card today. He also said that the card has a flexible transaction limit of 5,000 ringgit per day, from which the cardholder would be able to withdraw money from an automated teller machine ATM machine. In 2023, Ni said the company aims to become a universal payment provider and the most accepted digital payment option both online and offline. Meanwhile, Visa country manager for Malaysian Eng Kong Boon said the prepaid product that is tied to the Touch and Go e-wallet will enable cardholders to pay at Visa's wide network of over 80 million merchants nationwide. Maybank and Perodua Sdn Berhad have signed a Memorandum of Collaboration MOC for the provision of seamless end-to-end integrated digital financial services to Perodua via Maybank's M2E platform. The bank will also offer additional financial support by financing packages with close to 400 million ringgit to help further expand Perodua's business. In the MOC, Maybank via its M2E platform will offer a one-stop comprehensive banking and financing products and services access across the entire supply chain to Perodua as well as its dealers and customers in Malaysia. This would cover all aspects of Perodua's operations, from manufacturing, distribution and vendor retail to after-sales services. The collaboration will cover financial services such as floor stocking facility, direct and blanket hire purchase, credit card merchant facilities and cash management. An added benefit of the partnership is on the system integration between the Perodua Sales Operating System PSOS and the M2E platform, which enables the automation of stock purchase by dealers and also simultaneously facilitate the auto-reconciliation of stock payment between Perodua and its dealers on a real-time basis. Perodua President and Chief Executive Officer Datuk Seri Zainal Abidin Ahmad said the collaboration provides a more efficient financing facility for floor stocking for Perodua's sale operations and retail hire purchase for its customers. Coming up in our foreign segment, at least 16 killed in helicopter crash in Kiev region. The Tokyo High Court today upheld a not guilty criminal verdict by a lower court that cleared the former Tokyo Electric Power Company TEPCO executives of negligence over the 2011 Fukushima nuclear power station disaster. Former TEPCO chairman Tsunehisa Katsumata and one-time executives Sakai Muto and Ichiro Takekuro were all found not guilty by the Tokyo District Court in 2019 in the only criminal case to arise out of the world's worst nuclear crisis since the Chernobyl disaster in 1986. They were accused of liability for the deaths of more than 40 hospitalized patients who had to be evacuated following the nuclear disaster. But the Tokyo District Court said in 2019 that they could not have predicted the scale of the tsunami that triggered the disaster. Protesters from civil group held banners and chanted slogans outside the court after the hearing, vowing to continue its efforts to see the former executives prosecuted. The ruling today to uphold the not guilty verdict sits at odds with a separate civil case brought to the Tokyo court by TEPCO shareholders, which found 4 former executives responsible for the 2011 nuclear disaster. Macau's former junket king, Alvin Chow, was sentenced today to 18 years in jail for running an illegal gambling empire, ending a criminal trial that shocked the casino hub and toppled one of its highest-profile gaming tycoons. The 48-year-old founder of Sun City Group pioneered the junket industry that brought high rollers from mainland China to Macau, the only place in the country where casinos operate legally. At its peak during the 2010s, junkets contributed the bulk of gaming revenue for the former Portuguese colony, which boasted a pre-pandemic casino industry bigger than Las Vegas. Chow's downfall coincided with Chinese President Xi Jinping's years-long anti-corruption drive, which has included much closer scrutiny of corrupt officials who might travel to Macau to place bets and launder money. Prosecutors charged Chow with 289 counts of fraud, money laundering and illegal gambling. Judge Lau Ing-ha today found Chow guilty of fraud, running a criminal syndicate and operating illegal bets, but acquitted him on the money laundering charge. Judge Lau also awarded damages of $834 million to the Macau government and lesser sums to 5 casino operators, saying their revenue took a hit due to Sun City not declaring the full extent of its gains. At least 16 people, including Ukraine's interior minister and 3 children, have been killed in a helicopter crash near a nursery outside the capital, Kiev. According to Emergency Services Interior Minister Denis Monatsrisky, his deputy Yevhen Yanin and State Secretary of the Ministry of Internal Affairs Yuri Lubkovich were among those killed early today. It was not immediately clear what caused the helicopter to crash in the town of Brovary, a commuter town that was the scene of fierce fighting early in Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The State Emergency Service of Ukraine, SESU, said in its latest update that at least 30 people were also wounded, including 12 children. Deputy head of the Ukrainian Presidential Office, Kirilo Moshenko, said in a briefing that the helicopter was going to one of the hotspots of the war with Russia, noting that more details will be provided later. Ukraine's Prosecutor General Andrei Kostin said investigations are being carried out by the Security Service of Ukraine. Coming up in sports, Speedy Tigers hit with unpleasant news ahead of clash against New Zealand. Thumping strike from Harvey Elliott was enough to give FA Cup holders Liverpool a 1-0 win away to Wolverhampton Wanderers in the third-round replay this morning. Liverpool, who were coming off a 3-0 defeat against Brighton and Hove Albion that left them 9th in the Premier League, drew 2-2 with Wolves in their first third-round meeting on 7 January. Despite a recent string of poor results, Jurgen Klopp still fielded a heavily rotated side for the replay. It paid dividends in the 13th minute when Elliott finished off a long run from midfield with a thunderous strike from distance to put Liverpool ahead. Wolves chased an equaliser to no avail for the majority of the second half before Julian Lopetegui brought on former Chelsea and Atletico Madrid striker Diego Costa to try to force extra time but could not find a way back into the game. The result, Liverpool's first win in 4 matches in all competitions, sets up a 4th-round FA Cup tie with the same Brighton team that outclassed them. The Speedy Tigers were hit with unpleasant news ahead of their clash against New Zealand in Group C of the World Cup tomorrow. Mohammad Shahriar Sabah, a prolific player with 150 caps, picked up a hamstring injury while playing against Chile and is likely to be out for the remainder of the tournament.
penyerang kita, di mana penyerang-penyerang kita kurang.
Malaysia team manager Datuk Mirnawan Nawawi said coach A. Arusevaraj is still mulling Shahril's replacement as he has two options.
Di bahagian tengah untuk mendapat.
Setelah diperiksa oleh doktor pasukan, sememangnya kecederaan yang agak serius. So jadi pada hari ini juga pengurusan pasukan, terutamanya jurulatih Arusevaraj, beliau akan melihat kemungkinan pertukaran akan dilakukan. Tetapi pemain simpanan yang mana untuk jurulatih Arusevaraj pilih tidak pasti lagi.
The International Hockey Federation SAHIH have allowed the teams to register 20 players for this edition of the World Cup, and in case of injuries, teams are allowed to replace players. Malaysia travel 800 kilometers by flight from Rukela to Bhubaneswar to get ready for their final group match against New Zealand. If Malaysia win against the Kiwis, they will finish second in Group C and play the third place team in Group D, which could be Wales or Spain. Meanwhile, Malaysian Hockey Confederation MHC President Datuk Seri Subhan Kamal said the national men's hockey squad have the potential to pull off an upset against more fancied New Zealand at the Kalinga Stadium Bhubaneswar tomorrow. Although aware of the tough task awaiting the speedy Tigers, Datuk Seri Subhan is optimistic that Arusevaraj men will fight hard against New Zealand in an effort to continue their winning streak after overcoming Chile 3-2 in the second group match on Monday.
So I think New Zealand is something that we are playing on Thursday, and we are quite optimistic that we will actually, not easy, but I think we have a good chance also of holding them or even beating them. So if that happens, the next phase is going to be also difficult.
Datuk Seri Subhan has also been in contact with Arusevaraj and instructed him to find a way to resolve all arising issues, including his players' weakness in scoring from penalty corners that has plagued the national squad ahead of the clash with the 9th-ranked team in the world. The record of the past 25 meetings between the two teams since the first time they met in 1975 is clearly in favour of New Zealand, who recorded 13 wins, while Malaysia only won 6 times and drew 6 times.
Melakukan larian, peluang untuk Belanda mendapatkan gol yang keempat, itu dia.
World champions Ericha Wuyik advanced to the second round of the men's doubles event with minimal fuss at the India Open in New Delhi today. The third seeds were pushed hard in the opening game by compatriots Man Wei Chong and T Kai Woon, but were still able to churn out a straight set 23-21, 21-10 win at the KD Judd Huff Indoor Hall. Aaron and Wuyik will next take on Taiwan's Lee Ji-hui and Yang Po-suan, who advanced to the second round following their 21-14, 21-13 win over Japanese pair Keiichiro Matsui and Yoshinori Takeuchi. Ji-hui and Po-suan has also lost to Aaron and Wuyik, who are the world rank number 3 in the first round of the Petronas Malaysia Open in Bukit Jalil last week. Alright, so that concludes this evening's news at 10. In our top story, toll exemption nationwide for 2 days before Chinese New Year. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. I'm Shuhada Arifin. Stay tuned to Berita RTM and have a pleasant evening.